um, pretty new to the whole coding thing. So after I got rejected from that, I ended up spending another 6 months. At the time, I was doing a whole bunch of odd jobs and doing websites for people, but then I released the free version, and it blew up really quick because it did a couple things that weren't really being done in free themes at the time. And it took me totally by surprise. So I didn't expect it to do much. And then within a year, it had close to 100,000 users. So it was a huge kind of blow up thing. It stayed on the popular list on WordPress.org for 2.5 years. It was a top 10. So it was pretty fun. Those are crazy times.
The first question I would ask the group is, how do you get your themes? Did anyone search on Google for themes? How many people use WordPress.org or .com? Or you've mentioned Envato. One of the things we'll do at the end of this meetup is talk about do's and don'ts. One of the worst things you can do is search Google for themes, because you don't really know what you're getting, and you can buy themes that have bugs and holes in them. So with that in mind, how many themes are on Kadence Themes? How can people find it? Talk to us about.
Yeah, so
what type of theme was it? Was it a photography theme? There's all these categories for themes.
Certainly. And I mean, I think you can get into a big conversation about what a theme is supposed to be. Early on in WordPress, it was much more of a blogging platform. And so there's this concept that a theme is something that can be kind of moved in and out, interchangeable, which it is. I mean, in WordPress, that still is the truth. But as it became more of a content management system and people started building more complex sites, you had this whole thing. And so I approached it very much as I wanted to develop multi-purpose themes that did it all, which was, and still is, there's certainly people who don't like that approach. I approached it from an aspect of, I do a lot of e-commerce stuff, especially coming from the first site being, heated wetsuits. I came from that approach and just thought, I'm going to make themes that do whatever people want them to do as best that I can. So Virtue was a multi-purpose, and so I have Virtue, Pinnacle, and Ascend, and it's just 3. I have premium and free versions for each. And I have mostly focused on a model that really plays to them being multi-purpose and that you don't need other themes. So I didn't want to build a huge theme library with 30 themes and they only did one thing well. I wanted to build 3 themes that kind of did everything. And that was my approach.
Yeah, and I think for me, when I look for themes, it's a pain in the butt sometimes when you go to a theme and then you have to add a whole bunch of plugins just to get some basic functionality or add a slider. So it sounds like your themes can do a lot of the basic things.
Yeah, they can. And that was part of the approach at the beginning, is I wanted to release free themes that did more than what any other free themes were doing. So when I released Virtue, I made sure that there was, quote unquote, premium features in it, and as well as with the future themes. So like Ascend is my latest theme. I don't actually plan on doing a whole lot more, although I'll be updating them a lot this year. I don't plan on making much more themes, maybe one more, but right now it's mostly about updating them, and then everything that's going on with Gutenberg. So
all right, so while we're doing that, I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
If you don't mind, if you can open up something on your screen to show the group some of your themes, and in the meantime, talk a little bit about how Gutenberg has changed your themes, because I'm sure before December, your themes look a certain way, and now they have certain things that are different. Or have they changed?
Certainly have changed. And one of the things that's changed for me too is development-wise. I built Kadence blocks. So Kadence themes, Kadence blocks. Kadence blocks right now is the most popular Blocks library. It won't be for long because there's a couple of big players that jumped in who have a lot bigger names than me and a lot bigger followings. But currently, it is in the lead with 10,000 users. And so Kadence Blocks has changed kind of a lot of what I'm going to be doing because it'll kind of invest into it'll come into the theme. Let me get.
Okay. So while you're doing that, I'm going to turn it to the group. How many people know what blocks are? And in relation to what he said about Kadence. I think that it's basically segments of the website. So this is in each block. Right. So in the new Gutenberg, things are built with blocks, like Lego. And when they build themes, a lot of the theme builders are now adding specific bits of functionality that you can sort of find. So when you go to Kadence, themes, for example, that the whole time. Yeah, hold on. So it sounds like, yeah, so Divi is sort of modular too. So so what we're going to look at now, he's going to show us his themes and a little bit of what he's doing with Gutenberg. So take it away, unless we got any questions before we go further. Go ahead. All right.
Okay, so this is my home page. And then this is a new site called Kadence Blocks that is just going to promo this particular plugin. And this site was built with Gutenberg and built with Kadence Blocks. And so the idea that, to me, one of the main things that's going to keep themes very popular, very much used, is people want demo content. Almost all customers who come in and get a theme, whether it be a free or a premium theme from us, they want to install demo content. And we have demo sites that you can just download all this content in an instant, because people, they want to have something to start with. They don't want to come in blind. It's just like anything else. You'd rather change text than figure out how to build something, especially if you're not a great designer. And so one of the things,
Ben, sorry to interrupt again. How many people know what demo content is? And again, if I'm going too basic for somebody, I apologize. But when you get a theme, a lot of times you'll see it in the repository or online, and it looks great. You download it and install it, and it doesn't make sense. What demo content is, it allows you to build basically what you see on the screen, and it sort of gives you a tutorial on how to walk through. Sorry to interrupt, Ben. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. So, like this little GIF here shows, one of the things I've been working on is building a library inside Gutenberg, inside the editor, where you can quickly add all kinds of content right into your page. Because for me, that's what I've seen a lot of significant growth in terms of where people are coming in, where they're at, what they want is they want to be able to quickly put a site together that they can edit, that's designed in a way that's appealing. A lot of times people will get into themes and get overwhelmed really quickly because lots of options, lots of settings, and they don't really know what they're building because you're trying to figure out as you go. And so that's been an approach for me with Kadence themes. So if you see here, I've got the 3 themes I was talking about, plus I have this child theme, which is kind of like a little bonus for members. And we can play around on demos too. But all of this is really about having the content that people can look at to pick a theme. So they did some research and found that most people pick theme based on design. So when they're looking at it, they're looking at the demos and they're saying, this is the theme I want because I saw this design and I want that design. And so that's largely what we focused on for themes, is trying to create good design and trying to create easily accessible demo content. But then kind of not newly, we have quite a bit of plugins, but what I've been mostly working on lately is really making all of this work, including the plugins, inside Gutenberg.
So how difficult was that to do, and how long did that?
I had to learn a new language. I mean, everything traditionally was built in PHP, and a lot of this is done in React. So React is a JavaScript language. So I knew JavaScript pretty well, but it did take a bit to learn the language of Gutenberg and be able to use it. And let me see if I can just pull up a little demo here. So this is an editing experience inside of Gutenberg, which if you're familiar with page builders, it's going to be pretty similar. A lot of people have their doubts about Gutenberg. I think that's mostly being shown to be wrong in terms of Gutenberg is going to be able to be a page builder, and it's got its own quirks. They all do. All the page builders do. But the fact that it's built into WordPress and it's very fast, it's built on a fast language, so it has some benefits there. And then, it's easy to play around and edit all kinds of things. Is there something that I would be helpful if I showed how to do, or how this works?
Well, I would say, can you walk us through basically adding a new section with the photo gallery, for example? And while you're doing that, you mentioned talking. And again, I'll jump in, and maybe I'll jump in too much, but if everybody's familiar with what talking is, basically, when you get a theme out of the box, that's considered the parent theme. And what you probably shouldn't do is make customizations to that parent theme, because when you update it, it can't be quite so. So what most people do is create a child theme, which is just like your child, looks like you, has a lot of your features, but he's a little different. And you'll grow into something different, but it'll still have a lot of your characteristics. So when you're doing a theme, you want to edit it in a child theme, and that's what's going to present to everyone in the public, and you can make the changes. All right. So did we have any other questions for Ben as he's doing this demo? So walk us through what you're doing again. I'm sorry, I sort of jumped in while you're doing that.
Oh, no, you're fine. So this is a simple way you can add blocks in here. So this is a gallery. So you mentioned adding in a gallery. I can show that in terms of just coming in, picking images, and then you can drop that into a gallery, and that'll got things in the way here. So that's this page here, and that's the gallery we just made.
And then in Kadence themes, what are some unique? Can you demo some of your unique blocks?
Yeah. So let me I've got too many tabs here.
So for those of you who were familiar with how WordPress used to work, the WYSIWYG looked a lot different. The area where you would add images or photo galleries was totally different. And what you saw him do was drag and drop all from within the page area itself, which is totally different.
Yeah. So a good example would just be to look at this. This is the pre-built library inside Kadence blocks. So using this, you can go through and very quickly pick something that you want to add and click on it, and it drops it right into the page. And then these are, of course, all editable items. So then I can come in here and change kind of whatever I want in terms of, I want to change the icon or even the style of that icon. There's, let's see, kind of endless possibilities. I can move this over. So yeah, you can play around with all kinds of things And then even the line width for the icon. Hopefully that's all visible. But yeah, it's all, I mean, it all comes down to different.
Hey, we have a question.
Yeah.
Mobile view of everything?
Can you edit the mobile view of everything?
So Gutenberg has some mobile, it doesn't have a way to preview mobile in the editor, although that's being worked on and actually being talked about. If you're on GitHub watching it, which is confusing, they are playing around with different options. If you change your screen size of the browser, it will start to try to give you some mobile experience stuff. It's not very good yet. It's still going to be responsive if you do that, but they're working on a really good way of making Gutenberg not just editable on a mobile device, but having a preview. So what they're looking at right now is having potentially icons up at the top where you'd click and it would literally just give you the preview right there of what this looks like in mobile. Gutenberg, or the blocks that I created, they all have, I mean, if you look over here, ways to set up for mobile. So you can have, you can change your column layouts, for example. You can change padding and things like that for mobile. But right now, still the best way to view a mobile would be to open a tab that's, you're using the inspect tool.
And one of the things that's different about Gutenberg versus the previous editor is that you see all your changes live as you're working on it instead of having to click over. And the other thing that I would equate this to is now a lot of homes or skyscrapers or office buildings are built in modules that they just roll in and just sort of stack together. So quickly, Gutenberg, and what he just showed you was he has pre-built modules that you just drag and drop and you can build your page fast and just worry about editing the content. That's a big change. All right.
I think one of the challenges that's coming, I don't know if this is helpful or not, but one of the things I'm waiting to see, and I think we'll see with everything that's changed with Gutenberg, is areas like this have traditionally been controlled by a theme unless you want to build the entire page with a page builder. So because this is a sidebar pulled in through your widgets area. And so the actual content of the page here and everything above that and below that would be controlled by the theme. Gutenberg is creating a way to make custom areas editable inside Gutenberg. So there's the potential that in your editor, this could be there and it wouldn't just be something you'd have to add through meta boxes. And it could show up above your title and stuff like that. But
so Ben, so for people that bought themes before Gutenberg came out, should they be worried? Are these themes going to go away? What do you see happening to them?
No, I don't think you should be worried. I mean, really, I don't think a whole lot's going to change for a ton of people that have existing sites. I think for a lot of people that have sites that are basically there and all they're doing is updates, you really don't need to do anything. And I even tell customers that, you don't need to try to rebuild your site in Gutenberg. You don't need to be worried about it because, it's all new and it's certainly nice if you're building a new site. I mean, it makes a lot of stuff a lot easier. It even makes blogging really, really a pleasant experience. But it doesn't mean that the other things are going away. The page builders are still going to be there. So if you built your site on a page builder, I think you're fine. I don't see any of that going away in any short term.
What about one of our attendees is a Divi user? What about the page builders? Are they threatened, or what do you see happening?
I think like something like Divi, they have such a huge following, and I mean, so many users are using Divi, and they're so far ahead of Gutenberg and where it's at in terms of an editor and what they have behind it and the user base they have behind it, that it's not going away. I could see more and more people stop using Divi for future projects because they find they don't need to, and and maybe it's a simpler experience, and they just particularly like Gutenberg. What I found a lot is that I don't think any of those page builders are going away because they're so far ahead of everything with Gutenberg. But what I've noticed is a lot of people who are using those page builders don't usually use them on a blog post. They're usually they're actually using the classic editor on a blog post. And so now they have access to this Gutenberg editor when they're blogging. That makes it a lot more pleasant. And I think that as that starts to happen, more and more people will just naturally start using Gutenberg for more and more things where they don't need kind of all that Divi can do. But Divi's base is there. They're not going away. I mean, Divi, Elementor, Beaver Builder, they're far enough ahead, and they're catering to a huge developer audience, people who are building sites for clients, that they're not, I don't think they're that threatened. I think certainly if they don't get on the bandwagon for making blocks, so like I would be surprised if Divi doesn't create blocks for Gutenberg, because people will use Divi Builder and Gutenberg in the same site. And I think that's going to be really common. So I think there's going to be things that you open up in Divi and things you open up in Gutenberg.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll begin to wrap it up. I don't want to hold you up too long. What's the weather like in Missoula?
It's a nasty day today. Yeah, it's kind of rainy and cold. We've had snow on the ground since before Christmas, and it hasn't gone away, and anywhere from a foot to 2 feet here. But today it's raining, and so the snow is melting pretty fast.
Well, today it's raining here in California, and that's our winter. It's raining all day. So
yeah,
I appreciate it. So many people came out despite the traffic being backed up. When it rains here, it's like 12 inches of snow on the ground. People slide off the road and accidents everywhere. So
wow,
it's cool that everybody came out. Can you stop sharing your screen so we can see your face before we?
I'm sorry. I'm not used to this thing.
Bye. Do we have any questions before we sort of wrap up and move into the rest of the meetup? All right, Ben. Well, thanks for taking your time. What's coming up for you? Are you going to do any WordCamps, or do you just are you just focusing on the business, or what's next?
Yeah, I haven't picked which WordCamps I'm going to go to. I will be at US for sure. I don't know. I'm going to try to do one more. I'm trying to work that out with my wife as to what she's going to let me do. I have 2 kids, and so family time has to be treasured. And I have a sister in Boise, and I know that they do a WordCamp, so I may try to make that happen, because that's in driving distance. But I'm not sure. I know I'm actually being interviewed on Wednesday to start a meetup here in Missoula. So I'm hoping that takes place and then get going here in March. So.
Oh, that's good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for your time today. I know Saturdays are family time, so I appreciate you taking time.
No, it's good. They're asleep right now. Kids are asleep, so we're good.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
All right. Yeah.
Talking to you.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
All right.